All right, so you want to know what it takes to get that perfect sriracha swirl.
We're talking about sauce production operators today.
Fascinating field, really.
You sent in a whole bunch of stuff on this, so we're going to dive deep into it.
It's this blend, you see, of art and science,
Hmm.
flavors, textures, but then you've got these industrial machines
I can already tell this is going to be interesting.
and increasingly automation, even in the sauce world.
So no more just stirring a giant pot. What does a sauce production operator actually do?
Right, right.
Our sources make it sound like way more than that.
Exactly. Think more like orchestrating a symphony of flavors, but on a production line.
Okay, I like that.
You're calibrating those high-pressure homogenizers. Got to make sure that sriracha is smooth. No one wants chunky sriracha.
Seriously not.
Troubleshooting a rogue temperature sensor. That'll ruin a whole batch of, say, during pasteurization. That's a critical point.
Hold on. Pasteurization, that's got to be more complicated than just heating something up.
Absolutely. We're talking serious food science. You've got to eliminate the bad bacteria, but keep all that delicate flavor.
So it's like a balancing act. High stakes, too.
Precisely. High stakes, high pressure, you need precision. Deep understanding of the hows and whys of food science.
Wow, okay. So much for my stirring a pot image. This is high-tech stuff.
It is.
But our sources also mentioned something about the work environment.
That it's a little intense.
Let's just say it's an experience for your senses.
Okay, how so?
Imagine the whirring of the machinery, that rhythm, and the smells, spices in the air. But also, you're on your feet, it's fast-paced, could be long hours.
So not all sunshine and sriracha sunsets then.
Not exactly. It takes something to thrive in that environment.
Resilience. That's what
Yeah.
we're getting at here, right? Adaptability. And speaking of adapting, our sources mentioned automation changing the game.
It is.
It's not just onions and garlic anymore, it's robots too.
Exactly. This isn't the future. It's happening right now.
Yeah.
Robotic arms, handling delicate ingredients, AI fine-tuning recipes. It's a whole new world.
Okay, so how does a new sauce production operator, how do they deal with all this new tech? What skills do they need?
Learning. You have to be ready to learn new tech constantly.
Makes sense.
One day it's a robotic arm, next day it's a sensor malfunction.
Always on your toes?
You have to be comfortable with change and upskilling all the time.
So traditional culinary knowledge, sure, but also high-tech savvy, like a culinary engineer.
That's a great way to put it.
That's what makes this career path so exciting. You're pushing boundaries, not just following a recipe. You're creating, innovating. The world of sauce is your oyster.
I like that. Okay, so we've established being a sauce production operator way more than meets the eye.
Yes.
But what about moving up? Our sources say there's a clear path, more responsibility, even leadership down the line.
Absolutely. You'd likely start as an assistant operator, learn the ropes, master those hygiene protocols. Safety, of course, is key.
Right? Can't have any contamination.
Exactly. And you'd gradually work your way up to the more complex machinery.
So it's not just about knowing how to, operate a mixing vat. It's leadership, problem solving, keeping that production line moving.
You've got it. It's all about keeping things running smoothly, pun intended.
I like that. I like that.
And as you gain that experience, you climb that ladder. Senior operator, maybe even production manager one day.
So we're talking, analyzing data at that point, finding ways to improve, experimenting with new flavors, maybe?
You're catching on quickly. That's exactly it. At that level, those analytical skills are key. Leadership, too. You're shaping the future of the company's sauces.
Wow, giving me Willy Wonka vibes, but with less chocolate and more. Well, you get the idea.
But before we get too carried away with, inventing new flavors,
Hmm?
our sources kept mentioning this tool, RoleCatcher.
Ah, yes. RoleCatcher.
That sounds like the tool for anyone trying to get into the sauce game.
It is a real game changer.
What makes it so special?
It's like a toolkit, digital, of course, to give you a leg up in the job market. And these days, it's more competitive than ever.
For sure.
RoleCatcher helps you with everything. Your CV, interview prep, even getting noticed by companies. It's pretty impressive.
Okay, color me intrigued. Let's start with the CV. Our sources mentioned something about AI. That's got to be new.
It is, pretty much. You know how important keywords are. Well, RoleCatcher analyzes job descriptions, figures out which ones matter most for, say, you want to be a sauce production operator.
Right.
It finds those keywords, tells you how to use them. It can even suggest improvements to your CV.
So it's like what do they call it, a marketing guru?
Mhm.
But for your career.
Yeah.
Makes you look good for the hiring managers.
Exactly. And it's not just about keywords, though those are important. It helps you highlight your skills in a way that matches what they want for the job. Makes a big difference.
Okay, so that's the CV. But let's be real. The interview, that's the scary part,
You're wrong.
Doesn't matter how good your CV is if you freeze up in the interview. What's RoleCatcher got for that?
So get this. They have this huge database, interview questions, all kinds. But here's the thing.
What's that?
They're not just general questions. They're specific to the role, like sauce production operator specific.
Oh, interesting. So none of that tell me your strength stuff. You
No.
get real-world scenarios instead.
Exactly. Like imagine the pressure wage on the tomato paste vat just went haywire. What do you do?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You get to practice those situations, how to react under pressure. You'll be way more confident going into the real interview.
Okay, this RoleCatcher thing is sounding better and better. But, there's that AI part, right? For the feedback.
Our sources mention that AI giving feedback on practice interviews. So it's going to critique my, tell me about a time you failed story.
Not exactly, though it is pretty cool. You record yourself answering questions.
Right.
And RoleCatcher analyzes it, sees how clearly you're speaking, how well you structure your answers, even body language if you're doing a video interview.
So it's like a personal coach, but digital. Probably cheaper, too.
And less judgmental about your fashion choices, probably. But you're right, it's a game changer.
Especially for someone new to this whole thing.
Oh,
Or someone who hasn't had to interview in a while,
Exactly. Job market's tough, especially in a field that's growing fast, like sauce production. Having every advantage helps.
For sure. But, gotta ask, is RoleCatcher like a magic wand? Will it guarantee a job offer?
That's the thing. It's a tool. It helps you put your best foot forward.
Right.
But it can't do everything. You still need the skills, the experience. And let's not forget, those soft skills.
You mean like adaptability?
Yeah.
Problem solving, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Robots haven't replaced us entirely just yet.
Good thing, too. But it sounds like RoleCatcher can really help navigate this whole job search thing.
Think of it as a launch pad. It gives you a boost, but ultimately, it's up to you.
Your skills, your passion, all that.
You got it.
This whole human ingenuity mixed with tech, it's a theme today, isn't it?
It is.
And speaking of which, let's get back to the career path itself. We've covered entry level, even hinted at management, but our sources really break it down. Assistant operator, what comes next? What does that journey look like?
It's about climbing that ladder, right? You start with the basics, but with hard work, you can go far.
It's like they say, be the sauce boss, not the sauce boss around, am I right?
Exactly. It's all about upward mobility. You show them what you can do, you're dedicated, more doors open up. That's how it works.
So you could go from assistant operator to operator, but there's more after that. What's the next step up on the ladder?
Well, you get some experience under your belt, then maybe senior operator. That's where you really get to lead.
Lead in what way?
It's more than just production. Now you're mentoring the newer folks, showing them the ropes.
Oh, okay.
And when things get really tricky, you're the one they come to for answers. Plus, you'd probably train new hires on all that high-tech equipment we talked about.
Sounds like a lot of responsibility. You'd need those analytical skills we were talking about before, right?
Exactly. Senior operators, they're analyzing data, always looking for ways to do things better, faster, less waste.
And making sure the sriracha is still top-notch, of course. I'm kind of starting to see those sauce production operators as the unsung heroes of the condiment world.
They really are. But we can't forget the top of the pyramid here. What about the production manager?
Oh, right, the big boss. What's their day-to-day like?
Big picture thinking. That's the key. Everything falls on them.
Wow, everything.
Pretty much. Getting ingredients, hitting deadlines, budgets, you name it. They're also making sure everything's up to code. Safety, hygiene, all that.
High-pressure job, then.
Definitely demanding, but incredibly rewarding. You're not just making sauce at that point. You're building something. A brand. Even a whole empire.
From sauce. An empire. That's pretty amazing when you think about it.
Right. And our sources say it's achievable, it takes hard work, never stop learning, and yeah, a little bit of that sauce boss attitude.
That's a recipe for success, if I've ever heard one. Speaking of recipes, you mentioned continuous learning. What does that look like for someone in sauce production?
Always got to be learning new things, The world of food production never stands still. Maybe you take some courses, new safety regulations, new software, who knows? Maybe go to a conference, see what new trends are popping up, new flavors, new tech.
Keep those skills sharp.
Exactly. And stay curious. Be ready for whatever's next in the sauce world.
I love that. Curiosity really is like a secret ingredient, isn't it? This deep dive has been fascinating. I had no idea sauce production was so complex.
It's amazing, isn't it? We went from the factory floor to the executive suite,
Hmm.
robots to recipes. It's a career with so much potential if you're willing to put in the work.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I definitely have a new appreciation for every bottle of sauce I see now.
Me too. And who knows, maybe one of our listeners will be the next big thing in the sauce world.
Maybe we've inspired a future sauce-entrepreneur. But that's all the time we have for today. Listeners, we leave you with this. If you were the sauce boss, what would your masterpiece be? What wild flavors would you unleash? Think about it. Let those creative juices flow. This deep dive was just the beginning. Until next time.